But I mean, like even in the workforce, like, do you need a microphone?
Oh yeah.
You do for sure.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we're back today. Do you have any questions about anything that we've covered? I know y'all are caught up on the videos, golden, whatever. So, okay. Today we're going to do alphabets. I want to start off the class by telling you, bring your machines next week. Bring your machines on Monday. Be ready to go, set up, ready to go on Monday, because we're probably going to start doing stuff on Monday. Okay? So for those of you that aren't here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you, bring your machines on Monday. Hopefully you watch this video, which I'm sure you do, because you're usually pretty good about staying up on the videos, or not, whatever. So yeah, bring your machines on Monday. We're going to get started on Monday, okay? We're going to talk about alphabets today.
I was going to say, I think we did this because we talked about that, about what we learned it.
Make sure. Yeah, we did. I'm sorry, guys. We did alphabets on Monday. So we're going to go to. We did audio recording. Yeah, I think we did the audio recording too. Yeah, we did all of this. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. So now we're going to go to auto includes. Okay.
Ready-made and reusable text, like parentheticals and cover pages, are called block files. You can use either your computer keyboard to read in such text, or your steno keyboard for auto-include strokes defined in your dictionary. Here's where I'd like to read in the text from my sworn block file. The speed key to do so would be Alt-R, as in read. But you can also click on the Read Block icon on the toolbar, or use the Block menu. Now I'll select my sworn file and open it. And here's the ready-made text that's been inserted for me. Let's create a dictionary entry that will let me write the word sworn twice and have Eclipse automatically include the text from my sworn block file. Eclipse even offers help for such special dictionary entries. So here I'll press Ctrl E and then A a couple of times and the Enter key, which tells Eclipse to prepare for an auto-include entry. Now all I have to do is type in the name of my block file and put this in my dictionary. And here's the text that was read in for me automatically.
Okay. We actually watched this already before, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it because I'm going to do it again on Monday. Because what we're going to do is we're probably going to spend about the first, depending on who's here, probably about the first 30 minutes reading in the block files to your computer from my little key thumb drive to your computer. And then once we start doing this, I'm going to show you how to do it on your computer. So we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this because actually I think what we're going to do is we're going to skip over this. I'm going to go to auto replacements because we're going to do auto includes next week. So I'm going to skip this.
So you'll give us all the ones we'll need for future?
I'll give you all the ones you need to pass this final. You'll get everyone you need to pass this final. Now, everyone you ever need, I don't know, you know. And just depending on who you go work for is going to depend on, you know, kind of what you need, okay? So, and they may tweak what you have. Like you may have one for lunch and it's like, no, that's not how we do it. Or, you know, for marketing exhibits, no, this is how we do it, and, you know, whatever. So they may kind of tweak yours. But I'm gonna go in there and show you, if you need to change it, how to change it. So you can go in there and change all of these things too, to kind of suit, you know, whatever you need. Okay? Okay, we're gonna talk about auto replacements.
Let's see how to use auto replacements for error prevention and speed typing. Settings, programming, auto replacements. Eclipse installs a few hundred auto replacements to prevent typing errors. I'll use the modify button to see what this first one means. So if I accidentally type the word can as ACN, Eclipse automatically replaces it with CAN. You can remove items from this list or add without limit. Auto replacements are great for speed typing.
You see what they're talking about there?
But that's like if you type it in yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it'll automatically change it. It just like automatically does it. You know, it's kind of like,
It's like Microsoft, when you misspell and, it changes it.
yeah, or it's kind of like your phone.
Yeah.
You know, like when you're texting something and it's wrong, it you know, automatically fixes it. But you want it to be able to get it right too. So you don't want to be typing Keith and it's KETHI and it puts Kenneth or something like that. You know, so you want it to be close. So if it's doing something like that, then you have to go into this and make sure that you do the auto replacement, okay? It's you know, the auto intelligence on this thing is pretty good. So if you usually do it once, you know, correct it once, it'll kind of know, and you know, it'll always pretty much replace it itself. The auto intelligence is pretty good on these things, okay?
And the steno that's already in your head makes great shortcuts. After typing the shortcut, pressing the spacebar or enter key automatically triggers the auto replacement. If you notice you've just mistyped a word and the system did not correct it for you automatically, just go ahead and type in the correction and then space over. Then press a Shift-Alt-A will automatically correct the error and create an auto replacement for you. This makes it very easy to teach Eclipse which words need to be automatically replaced. Let's see how to use...
Did y'all get that?
Shift-Alt-A for what?
Shift-Alt-A for auto replacement.
But that's when you correct the word, and then.
That's when you correct the word. So really what you do is you write in the real word and then spacebar back and do, go over to the other word, do the Shift-Alt-A, and then it knows. It'll put it in an auto replacement, okay? So I'm gonna play it again and let you listen to it again.
Makes great shortcuts. After typing the shortcut, pressing the spacebar or enter key automatically triggers the...
So if you have like a brief or something like that you have for something, you can put that in like that and it'll automatically put it in if you do it as an auto replacement. Did you understand that? So if you go in there and do it as an auto replacement, then all you have to do is like yonk for I don't think, or whatever, and it'll put it in there.
Is it putting it in there only one time? It's not saving, it's just correcting that one document?
It's just correcting it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's not, yeah.
One minute, yeah.
Okay? So pay attention right here.
Auto replacement. If you notice you've just mistyped a word and the system did not correct it for you automatically, just go ahead and type in the correction and then space over. Then press a Shift-Alt-A will automatically correct the error and create an auto replacement for you.
So you don't have to go into auto replacement. You don't have to go into the, you know, auto replacement thing or whatever and put it in there, okay? All you have to do is this, and it'll create an auto replacement, okay? So if you know that you do something all the time, like can is CNA, or you know whatever, and you do it all the time, or you know she is SEH, something like that. All you do is space over, type the real word, come back to the other word that's misspelled, or that you do all the time, and do the shift, control shift, what is it, control shift A?
Shift all day.
Shift alt A, that's what I said.
You don't have to highlight it, you don't have to mark it or anything, it just knows.
It just does it, yeah, it knows. So what it may do is I'll be honest with you, I've never done it.
I was just gonna ask you that. So
I've never done it, you know, but I have words that automatically correct themselves, you know. So like when you go in there and let's just say, and it may not even be the right way to do it, you know, but this is the way that I do it. So, you know, let's just say I spelled can, CNA, okay? And I go in there and instead of making an auto replacement, which, you know, maybe that's what it's doing, I don't know. But I go in front of the word, let me back up a little bit and show.
Say shift.
So what I'll do is I'll come right here on the R, push the N for insert, type really, hit enter, don't space, but I hit enter. It takes the word out, enter, I mean it leaves the real word in, enter puts you back into hyperkeys, enter again, deletes this word. So the next time you type it like that and you type in, it automatically types really, you push enter and it puts it in there. And then after a while, I think with the auto intelligence, it just automatically knows to correct it. I think that's what it did with me, because I'll be honest with you guys, I've never used that auto replacement. You know, I think it's good. I think it's a good thing. I mean, if you can remember, you know what, man, I always type really, R-E-A-L-Y. I always do it. I don't know why, you know.
So you could do grid, so you could do slop stroke, or you could do the type over tracking. So you have, it's like 3 ways of doing the same thing almost.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, you could just do this as a slop stroke, right? And then it would be the same thing.
Well, but it's not a slop stroke. I mean, this is real English, so it's not like a stroke. So you could do it as your stroke. You know, the yonk, you know, I don't know, I think was the brief.
Oh, this is it, you're typing off regular keyboard?
Yeah, you're just typing off the regular keyboard.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so it's not something that yeah. So it was just something that you typed in and you typed wrong. So it's not something that's, if it's coming up like that, you have it in your notes, and it's coming up like that, this isn't auto replacement. This is in your dictionary. Okay, this isn't auto replacement. You got bigger problems. But I mean, it's not that big of a deal. All you do now is global it, which is what? G. Global it. Put the real word in there. It's going to ask you if you want it in your main. Do you? Yes, you do. Put it in there. All right? Any questions about that? Very good.
You can create an auto replacement while you're in the globaling dialog. Just type the letters for your shortcut with the equal sign, and then the text for your global as usual. Eclipse will offer to create your auto replacement, which you can then use anytime you need to type this text.
Did y'all get that? That's actually a pretty cool thing too. So if you're doing Ford Motor Company and it's like, God, I don't want to type Ford Motor Company every single time. You can create an auto replacement by doing the equal. Okay, I'm going to play it again.
You can create an auto replacement while you're in the globaling dialog. Just type the letters for your shortcut with the equal sign, and then the text for your global as usual. Eclipse will offer to create your auto replacement, which you can then use anytime you need to type this text.
You see what it did? So now you don't have to type out Ford, Motor, Company every time. All you do is FMC, and it comes out Ford Motor Company.
And then after do you press FMC enter? Or just after you do FMC, it's gonna pop up?
After you do FMC, probably space, then it'll put it in. You have to put the space, because if not, it thinks that you're still typing or whatever. So, you know, it's not going to do it. Okay? Guys, be careful with what you're using. Okay? Because you don't want to use can for city and nation, or, you know, whatever. Oh, I'm just going to put can right there. Really? No. Okay? Be careful with what you're creating as an auto replacement. Okay? Because it's going to affect, you know, what you're doing. Okay? But that's actually pretty cool. So now you don't have to type this whole doggone thing. All you have to type is 3 letters and the thing comes out. Got it? Excellent. Are y'all awake?
Yeah.
See, like doing DT for Department of Transportation?
So do you put it in all caps like it has it been?
I probably would.
Okay.
I would. Just to kind of create no conflict,
Yeah. Okay.
you know, so that there isn't a chance for conflict. Okay? I probably would. Any questions right there?
No.
Okay. Pretty easy lesson right there. No big deal. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this because you don't really need the bilingual duo. Maybe
What,
you do.
what
I don't
happens
know.
when you're in court and somebody says words in Spanish? What do? You just type what you hear and
There's a
Um,
translator.
you know, it just all depends. You know, one, your machine isn't bilingual, okay?
Don't
So,
you wait to hear what the translator says?
well, you know, sometimes, you know, attorneys trying to be funny, clever, you know, will say stuff. It's like, you know, más o menos. Well, you're writing mas, M-A-S, and that's mass, M-A-S-S. O is O-H, and menos, I don't even know what that is. Men no sir would be mine. Menos would be men no sir. So now you have mass, O, men, no sir. Really? You know? But, I mean, you kind of know what they said. You know, so if you have to read it back, I mean, you could go back, you know, and say, well, you know, but you're going to look a little dumb, you know, when you're reading back and all of a sudden, you know, this was an hour ago. Well, you know what? Read that back. Well, she knew about the game, mass, O, men, no sir. Really? You know, so I mean, that's why, you know, it's okay sometimes. But I mean, I've had people that, you know, are bilingual, and you know, they're talking in English, and then all of a sudden they're just talking in Spanish. You know, and it's like broken English Spanish, and it's like, oh, whoa, you know. And usually, you know, my old judge was real good about that. So he's like, hey, whoa, you know, if you need a translator, we can call a translator, and you know, we'll get you over here, get somebody over here. But you know, if English is your primary language, we need you to speak in English. So it can be crazy.
Would you just put like a little side note, like they were speaking Spanish or something?
And you can put like a little parenthetical in there, you know, whereupon they spoke in Spanish. You know, if you really don't, you know, I kind of know, I know Spanish, you know, so I mean, I kind of know what they're saying, but I mean, you want to be right too, so you want to be careful on what you're putting in there, you know, and if they said something, you know, and I had, you know, long time ago when I first started, I had gotten called down to court, and I'd gotten called to juvenile court. We were on the record, and this kid said something about the judge in Spanish to his attorney, you know, and my judge at the time, who ended up being one of my first judges, Judge Sakai, who's Asian. Well, he's from the Valley. Well, he knows Spanish, and this kid's talking Spanish about him, saying not real good things, you know, whatever, and he just kind of sat there and let the kid finish, and then he answered him in Spanish, and the kid's like,
Wow.
so you might want to be careful. You know, not that you're going to do it, but I mean, you know, you just never know. But well, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on that. I don't think that's something you're ever going to need. Okay, caps and fonts. Okay. Y'all all know already, pressing hyperkey M is to mark text. Marked text can be quickly capitalized, underlined, italicized, bold-faced, indented, spaced differently, single versus double, you know, all of this stuff. Hyperkey A reverses the case of any letter. You remember? Capital to back. If, however, you mark a word and then press hyperkey A or F6, it toggles through the various capitalization possibilities. So what you can do is mark the word, and you can kind of do it right now. So if you're in this, get on maybe case. Okay? So I'm going to kind of do it with you. And then do F6. Oh, I'm sorry. Do M, which marks it, okay? And you can do A, which capitalized case, you saw that? A again capitalizes the whole thing, okay? Press A again and it takes it back. So it's just gonna toggle up to what you might wanna do. So maybe it's an acronym for something. Maybe case is the center of alphabetical I don't know, synonyms in enterprise. I don't know, whatever. But it's an acronym for something. Well, it needs to be capitalized. Well, you know what? Here's how, you know, if you want to do it the long way, you can go A, come back, control, arrow over, A, come back, control, arrow over, A, come back, control, arrow over, and A. Seriously? Wow. Okay? So all you have to do is mark it, which is M, and you can do one of two things. What is toggled alphabet? A, or F6. So F6 is also a way to do it. So F6, F6, F6 does the same thing. Okay, but A is a capitalization. To me, it's easier. You're not moving your hands off of your home keys, off of the keyboard. So it's just a lot easier that way. Okay? So this is another way of doing stuff also. So you can do, how do you mark? M, and do control, and the hyphen, the little hyphen. So mark the word once,
What hyphen?
the little hyphen,
Like next to zero hyphen?
like next to zero hyphen. And it should bring this up, attributes. Okay? So what do you want to do? Well, you know what? I want to make that bold. Okay. And then do OK, and look what it does. So it's pretty cool. You can underline, you can underscore. Really, I think that's it. But, like we just talked about, we can mark it, which is M, and then you do A, and look what it does. So if you need it as an acronym that's, you know, a bold, something that needs to be, it's an acronym for something, but you need it bold, that's how you do it too. So you go into, you mark it, and do what?
Control hyphen.
Control hyphen. Brings up the attributes. Write that down. Got it? It's pretty cool. So, you can even go one step further and do Control Shift F for font, and you can even change the font if you need to. So you can make it into any font style that you want, any size, any of that stuff. Color, you can change the color of it. I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff, okay? Control Shift F for font. Got it? Perfect. Okay, this is pretty cool too, about changing. If you're just changing the spacing of one paragraph, you do not have to mark the text first. However, you can change the spacing for several paragraphs at once. Just mark the paragraphs before using the following commands. Single spacing, press the Alt and the hyphen. Okay? Double spacing, press the Alt and the equal. Okay? So let's try it. So we're right here, and we'll do Alt hyphen. You know what? You may need to mark it. I think that's what we need to do. So we'll mark it, do Alt. Okay, well, I think it's not doing anything because it's already in single.
Space.
Yeah. So we'll do the Alt equal, and look what it did. See? Pretty cool. And if you do the Alt hyphen, right after you just did that, it changes it back. See? So the first time that you do it, you may have to mark the text first and then do it. But let's just say you're right here, and let's just say it's all double space. Okay, and you want to create a new paragraph. How do you do that? It's not the extreme obvious. It's not the P like you would think.
F5,
It's the
right?
Shift F5. So Shift F5 brings it into a new paragraph, tab over, and do the Alt equal. See, I didn't need to mark it. I didn't need to mark any of that stuff. I just did the Alt equal and it automatically double spaced it. And if you do the Alt hyphen, then it automatically takes it back. Okay? I don't know why it does that in Shift F5, but it didn't do it like right here.
I would like
You
to
went
know
outside your
that.
margins too.
I'm sorry?
You just kind of blew your margins over too. You went outside. Well, now it's not because you fixed it, but it went offside, your margins went out.
Oh, did it? I wasn't even paying attention to it.
It's like, mine is like that.
If-
Yours was like that too, but you fixed it when you went back.
What did I do? On the Shift F5?
Yeah. See,
Oh,
wait,
okay,
it
yeah,
goes
yeah.
all the way there.
Yeah, and it may just be something in the lesson. Because usually on mine, it'll take it, it'll keep it right in it. So it may just be something in this lesson.
When you start a new paragraph, do you always just hit tab?
Yeah.
Is that the correct amount of space? Okay.
Yeah. Usually the first tab will take you 5. So, and that's usually what. But it all depends on who you go work for too, because some people tab at 10.
There's no, like,
I've seen,
like,
yeah,
rules about that?
I'm sorry?
There's no like rules about that, like wasting space.
I mean, I was always taught you tab over 5, but whatever. You're gonna do whatever you go work for, what they want you to do. Got it? Okay, see, it did it there. I did the Alt equal and it automatically went to, I think what it was, why it didn't do it for me the first time was because it was already in single space. So if it's in double space, like we'll come down here, it's already in double space, I'm gonna do the Alt and it does it with the Alt dash. Okay? All right, any questions about that? So you can do the bold, double space, single space,
Change the font.
change the font. Any questions?
No.
For those that are awake. Okay, dictionaries. How do you make it bigger? How do you make the,
Alt shift seven?
Shift F7.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Isn't
And
it
then
alt
Shift
shift
F7,
seven? Yeah.
Shift F8.
Yeah.
What is it?
Alt shift F7?
Control.
Oh, control, okay.
Control Shift F7. And smaller,
Alt shift F8.
Control.
Alt shift. Okay.
You
Well,
like,
F8,
you like
wasn't
that
it
alt,
F8?
don't you?
Wasn't it F8?
It's F8,
No.
but it's Control, not Alt.
Okay.
Yeah. Control Shift F7 and 8.
Because I didn't went there when I got here. Hello, okay.
Okay, guys, this is really important. It really is. Dictionary management is a very important skill for both reporters and scopists. Good dictionary maintenance improves translation, which in turn reduces editing time. Okay? Let's first look at the dictionaries button that you will see at the bottom of the user settings dialog when you press Alt U. This is where you select dictionaries. What? Oh, okay. Yeah, so you can go to Alt-U dictionaries, and you can add or remove any of your job dictionaries that you have from there, okay? Usually Eclipse creates a new job dictionary to go with each text file that it translates from Steno. However, if you're working on a trial or a case that involves many transcripts, you can go to the line that says Dictionaries Dialog. It says Job, and just add the name of what will be the master job dictionary. So you may have several. You may be taking the deposition of Mr. Hand one day, and he's talking about this one procedure about fracking, you know, because it was oil and gas. And then the next day you're taking the deposition of Mr. Smith, and he's talking about, you know, well, when they were tripping pipe and, you know, the different bits and blah, 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 and whatever. So, you know, you may take the deposition of another guy who's talking about both of them, the fracking, the bits, pipe, all of that stuff. So you need both dictionaries. So you're going to have to put both dictionaries in there when you do the translation, when you open up for real time. Okay? And I'm going to show you guys how to do that maybe next week. But for sure, whenever we start working on the machines. What's so funny? Searching for words.
Yeah.
Let's see how to select the dictionaries that will be used for translation and for globaling. I'll open my user settings and go to the Dictionaries dialog. This indicates the dictionaries that will be used by default each time the translator starts. Here's the name of my main dictionary. By default, each job has its own dictionary.
Your main dictionary is always going to be in there. It's always going to be in there. So you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about selecting your job dictionary or your main dictionary. It's always going to be in there. If you come in here to dictionary just because you want to add another dictionary, okay?
But you can specify a master job dictionary. So if you're working on a large case, you can say that you want all your job dictionary entries to go into one dictionary. This will keep you from having to manage a bunch of small dictionaries. Here you also see the name of a dictionary in brackets. That means that it will be available from the globaling dialog, but it is not being used for translation. If I want it to be used in translation, I'll put a check in the box next to Use in Translation. I'll press the OK button to save these changes. I've pressed Alt-T to open the Translate Notes dialog. Here are the dictionaries that I have set up. If I want to make a change that will affect only the upcoming translation, I would use the Dictionaries button. But if I want to make a change that will be remembered as part of my user settings, I would click on the gear icon or press Alt-U.
Be careful with that one on the Alt-U, because once you change them in the user settings, then it's changed. And then you have to go back in your user settings. It's not just in that job anymore, it's in your user settings. Okay? Any questions about that?
I don't know what they were trying to say with the brackets. That was confusing.
If you want it in the translation. If you want it in the translation part. We'll play it again.
Let's see how to select the dictionaries that will be used for translate. Here's the name of my main dictionary. By default, each job has its own dictionary, but you can specify a master job dictionary. So if you're working on a large case, you can say that you want all your job dictionary entries to go into one dictionary. This will keep you from having to manage a bunch of small dictionaries.
See, so that'll help you, you know, right there. So it's in the job dictionary that you need to put it. Well, it's in the Jones case. So let's just say the oil and gas case that I was talking about was the Jones case because it was Mr. Fred Jones that got killed, you know, or whatever while on this thing or got hurt. And you're taking a bunch of depositions in the Jones case? Well, you took Mr. Hand's deposition, you took Mr. Smith's deposition, Mr. Krzyzewski, Mr. Brown, blah, blah, blah. Now you got to add all of these dictionaries. No. You can manage it by just putting the job dictionary, and it's going to manage it in that job dictionary. Okay? If not, and if you open this, it's automatically going to name it whatever you have it named that day, which is probably going to be the date. And then you go in there and change the name or whatever, then you can go in there and change that job dictionary to whatever. And it's like, you know what, I want to use the Jones job dictionary. Does that make sense?
So do you do that at the beginning when you're starting something?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Here you also see the name of a dictionary in brackets. That means that it will be available from the Globaling dialog, but it is not being used for translation. If I want it to be used in translation, I'll put a check in the box next to Use in Translation. I'll press the OK button to save these changes.
I've never really used it, the bracket one, so I don't really know what they're talking about there, about whether it's in the Globaling or whether it's in the translation mode or whatever. So,
So, I mean, we don't have to use that, right?
no. No,
Yeah, I'm
well, I mean, if you
like-
put it in there, it's automatically, and you use the translation mode, it's automatically going to use it in your translation. So as you're going through there, it's automatically going to translate to your medical, asbestos, and the Jones case. So all of the entries that you've put in those, it's automatically going to start translating as to those.
So,
I mean, wouldn't it automatically translate?
That's what I was thinking.
No,
Why would
I
you
mean,
have to?
if you have it in a job dictionary, then it wouldn't. I don't know what they're talking about, the Globaling. The translation, hey, take it easy, lady. If you put it in there, it's going to put it in and in the translation mode. They're talking about using it as a Globaling mode. Okay? Now I'm going to back it up a little bit, and we'll listen to it again.
Here you also see the name of a dictionary in brackets. That means that it will be available from the Globaling dialog, but it is not being used for translation.
So you have to check the translation mode, is what you have to do. So I guess it's automatically using it as the global. So if you're putting words in there, I guess what they're talking about is if you're putting words in there, you know, like fracking, well, it may not be in your main dictionary. And you may have just globaled it in that one job dictionary. Now that's what it's doing, and it's taking the globals from there, which I don't know. It should automatically do it in translation anyway if it's doing it from the global. So I don't really know what they're talking about there. I don't know if I'm missing something and he's not explaining it, or I'm just not getting it. Do y'all?
well, what I want to know, and I don't care
I'm
about
not even paying
documents.
attention.
You don't use it, then I don't care, but so when you global, like, say you go in for the day and you're doing your depositions, you're saying what you do is you global the job dictionary and you name it as that date specifically. So every day you have a different job dictionary.
Yeah, every day is going to be a different job dictionary. Every time you turn your machine on is a different job dictionary.
Okay.
Job dictionary.
So if you want to keep one that you want to use again, you probably have to name it something other than the date.
Yeah, like the Jones case.
Okay.
So that's what I'm talking about. The job, you want to keep it in a job dictionary. So all of these other dictionaries that you're using for the different days of different people that you're taking depositions of, you can manage it by just going into the Jones case file.
Okay.
But it doesn't need to be here at number 1. It needs to be here in the job
Okay.
as the main job dictionary. So it's putting whatever globals or whatever you're using into that one.
I see.
Okay? But let's just say you're taking the Jones case and it's on oil and gas, but you know what? They're going to be talking about medical stuff today. Well, you have a medical dictionary that you have all of these different briefs and proper spellings for. Well, you know what? I'm going to put my medical dictionary in there too. I know it's the Jones case, and I need that one. but they're going to be talking about medical, and they're going to be talking about oil and gas. So I'm going to put my oil and gas one in there too. That I have fracking, bits, different pipes. Maybe you put that into a certain job dictionary too, just called oil and gas. Does that make sense?
Can we incorporate like one of our job dictionaries into like our main dictionary?
Into your main? Why would you want to? No. I mean, you can, but really all you're going to do is when you're globaling, you're putting everything into your main dictionary. No. Because let's just say you use frack for frackingization, okay? And they're talking about this frackingization. I don't even know if it's a word. I'm making it up or whatever, but I'm just giving you an example. Frackingization, okay? And they keep talking about this frackingization, whatever. So you're not going to write frackingization every time in a job that's going 6 hours, okay? And if you do, let me know what time your hand fell off from stroking it every time. Smarter, not harder, okay? So you're doing frack, okay? Well, no big deal. I'm in a global frack as frackingization. Well, let's just say you go tomorrow to another deposition and you're taking the deposition with the attorney, Mr. Frankenfooter. And you put frack. Well, guess what's coming up? Frackingization, because you put it in your main dictionary. So you want to be careful when you're using things like that you're putting in, that you're not going to use every day, okay? That you're only going to use in certain job dictionaries. Does that make sense? Okay.
Okay, but you said that it's the Jones case, and
Yeah.
then we do medical today, and they might talk about, like you said, fracking or oil and gas.
Yeah.
Whatever. So can you pick multiple dictionaries?
Yeah,
Oh,
you can
okay.
pick 8, 9, I think you can create more than that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can put up to 8 different dictionaries. You can put asbestos, oil and gas, medical, vehicles, whatever. I mean, it doesn't really matter. You can put as many dictionaries as you want. Yeah, be careful. Be careful with that, because once you start putting a bunch of them and you're using some of the same, maybe you use some of the same briefs for different words or people or whatever, it could start coinciding with some of the stuff that you're doing. So you might want to be a little bit careful. You know they're not going to be talking about asbestos, but I'm going to go ahead and put asbestos in there. Well, you're talking about asbestos, and they're talking about sheetrock and whatever, and your brief for sheetrock was sure or something. Well, you had sure in the medical as some kind of medicine. So you got to be a little bit careful about what you do, the dictionaries you put in, stuff like that. Okay? But yeah, you can put multiple
I
dictionaries in
want
there.
it to be used in translation. I'll put a check in the box next to Use in Translation. I'll press the OK button to save these changes. I've pressed Alt-T to open the Translate Notes dialog. Here are the dictionaries that I have set up. If I want to make a change that will affect only the...
So when you're going into real time and you're up and running and you're doing the Alt-T for translation, you're in the real time mode, you can put the dictionaries in there right there. Hit dictionaries and put whatever dictionaries you want in there. So now you're going with, you don't have to worry about doing it later when you're translating the job. No, you're going to do it then, right then, because you're doing real time for these guys and you need those dictionaries in there right now. So that's how you do it. Push dictionaries, it's going to open up a box of different dictionaries, and then you select the dictionary you need. Okay?
upcoming translation. I would use the Dictionaries button. But if I want to make a change that will be remembered as part of my user settings, I would click on the gear icon or press Alt-U.
Got it? See? No? See how doing this could mess you up too? If you global ABD as and, but ABD is abdomen, you know, that's just a good example of be careful what you put in there, then it's not going to coincide with something else. You know, and every time, and did you go to the store? And it's translating abdomen, you go to the store, you know? So be careful, you know, what you're putting in your main dictionary and how you're stroking things, okay?
Let's see how to optimize your Total Eclipse dictionary display. Eclipse dictionary information is presented in columns, and each column heading is actually a sort button. So you can click on the text column heading to sort your entries alphabetically. The program also keeps track of when each entry is created, modified, and used, and you can sort by each of these categories of information. You can also sort by the number of times an entry is used, the number of conflict resolution rules that Eclipse Artificial Intelligence has learned for an entry, and the number of stenostrokes, or words, that make up an entry. Perhaps you'll only want to show a few columns of information so that you can choose a larger display font. You can still see all the information for an entry by opening the steno bar. Shift-Control F5 will show or hide the note bar. The vertical display of your steno can make it much easier to read. But here you will also see all the information you would normally see in columns, even if you've reduced the size of some columns to a width of 0.
The column bar, whatever. You know, I don't know how much you're really going to use it. The other stuff is actually pretty cool. When you put it in there, last time you used it, all that kind of stuff. How many times the artificial intelligence figured it out? It's actually pretty neat. So, I mean, all it is stats. You know, so if you want to go in there and check out the stats, you can. Not that big of a deal. Okay, the globaling process is not the only way to add entries into your dictionary. Whenever you think of something you'd like to add to your dictionary, do Control D. I've already told you guys that. And the Control D is that. Okay? So it's like you hear a word, you know what, fracking. I've never heard that before. So let's do F, R, A, K. Frack. But frack, I believe, is a word that can stand on its own. Yeah? So I want to add that word to my dictionary. Maybe. You know, or maybe you heard abdomen. How would I stroke abdomen? ABD is pretty cool. Be careful. Because all you do is add the P and now it's and. You know, so if you're real good with those fingers, good. I would add like maybe a asterisk for abdomen. Yeah. I can tell you in the 25 years, almost 26 years that I've been court reporting, you can probably count on this hand how many times I've written abdomen. Yeah. So it's not something you're going to use all the time, but you know what? You're probably going to hear it. You're going to hear it, you know, but you're not going to hear it a ton. But you just use it with the asterisk. But ABD, man, that's a great brief or whatever, and I think it's one that I can really remember. I'm going to write it down, practice it, whatever. But be careful, because you're gonna hear and 8,000 times every day, probably. You hear it a lot, okay? So you don't want to use something that's going to be confused with something that you're going to use every day, okay? And we were also talking about the spell check, which is Shift Alt S. Or how do you check a word? How do you spell check a word?
With S. S.
And
And.
Alt S.
Alt S. Very good. Excellent guess. Alt S, remember? So you're right here on wood. Alt S brings it up. Spelling alternatives. So it tells you if it's right or not. You can get the definition, change it, whatever. Remember? So the Shift Alt S is the spell check the whole document. Remember?
Another question is real quick.
You in the back.
So this is kind of back to numbers, but it has to do with dictionary. So for months I've been trying to learn like the ordinals separate from the regular numbers.
Yeah.
So I write them a different way, but it just isn't really. I'm not doing it really well, and I've been trying it for months. So I'm trying to like rethink how I'm doing it. So I was thinking if I just did the regular numbers and then put an E after.
After the number?
Yeah, since I'm writing out the numbers, I'll put 3E, 4E. That would be my ordinal.
Yeah.
So if I just defined all of that in my dictionary, like, that would be fine, right?
Yeah.
3E for third.
So all you would have to do is like 0 through 9. That's it.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, okay.
Because it's only the final number that it's going to affect on the ordinal. So the 309th, or the 3009th, or the 3,000,009th, doesn't matter. With 9, it's always going to be TH. Or the 1st, or the 21st, or the 2001st. You know, so whenever it's the last number that it's going to affect. So you don't have to put 2,000 entries for 2001. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's see how to make dictionary additions or changes. The globaling process is certainly one way to add entries to your dictionary. But even if you don't have a text document open, whenever you think of an entry you'd like to add to your dictionary, you can simply press Ctrl-D. It might just be a name that you know you'll need to write. Just as you spell check your documents, so you can check the spelling of entries in your dictionary.
No big deal. So if you want to check the spellings of your dictionary, you can. Usually when you global it and you try to put it in there and it's wrong, it's going to tell you, hey, this ain't right. All right? So it's going to give you other alternatives of, you know, what it should be. Okay? But let's just say you put it in there wrong. You need to go in there and change it. You can go into your dictionary and just change it or whatever, find it, change it that way. You know, I think it's way longer to do it that way, but whatever. Okay? But just another way of doing it. So one of the ways, I mean, there's several ways to open your dictionary. One of them is dictionary, okay? The other one is F9. Y'all know that? But don't worry about writing it down. Write it down, F9. So you can do it right now. Push F9, and it's gonna open this. Well, it tells you we're in the tutorial. But when you're in the gray part or any other job in your regular software thing, it's going to have your name right there. So it's always going to open to your main. Okay? So dictionaries or F9.
Let's see how to conduct dictionary searches. When you open the Find Dictionary Entries dialog, your cursor is placed in the text field. Let me type in correct and press OK. The display is filtered for me to show only the entries that contain correct. These entries are currently sorted by steno, but remember that you can click on any column heading to sort by that category, so it'd be easy to see when the different entries were used, or to sort the entries by the number of times they've been used. I'll return to an unfiltered display by opening the Find Dictionary Entries dialog and immediately pressing OK. Let's look at the dialog again. It contains a large number of shortcuts to help you find entries that meet specific steno or text patterns.
So you can look up things by steno, by the text, or any of these things. Okay? So starts with keys, starts with strokes, ends with keys, any of the text strokes. So I mean, you can go in there and kind of mess with it a little bit. You know, if it's two strokes, everything that's two strokes you can look up for two strokes. Be prepared. Be sitting down because there's going to be a bunch of them.
And you can combine these searches. Let's say I want to find all my 3-stroke entries that contain capitalized text. So
you don't have to go through everything. You can narrow things down by this. You know that it's 3 strokes, and you know that it's capitalized, okay? But I'm not real sure about how I stroked it out. You can go in there and find it. And there's 1,677 entries for 2 strokes with a capitalized.
here the display has been filtered by both steno and text, and the entries are still being sorted by the number of times they've been used.
Got it? Excellent.
Let's see some of the choices that Eclipse AutoMagic offers for working with dictionaries. If you open a new dictionary that does not yet have any entries in it, AutoMagic will offer to help you build a dictionary from a word list. Or you can press 2 to add dictionary entries using your computer keyboard to indicate your steno. Or you can import a file or read a dictionary to add entries to this new empty dictionary. Here are the choices you'd see when you open one of your existing dictionaries. For instance, pressing 1 makes it easy to find entries. The most common dictionary searches.
So like you want to go in there and it's like, well, I want to clean up my numbers. Okay, well you go into your main dictionary. Guys, if you go into your main dictionary and you want to find every entry for numbers, you may want to set aside about 3 days to go through your whole dictionary. You don't have to do it. Go into your dictionary, go into, I think it was Find.
Pressing 1.
Find entries, which is usually number 1. Find entries,
Makes it easy to.
and then it'll open a list of, well, what do you want to find? Well, the thing that I need to find was a capitalized. Okay, I want to check everything that I have that's capitalized, and it'll narrow the search down. Holy cow, it'll really save you a lot of time by doing this function of narrowing down what you need. Okay, so you want to mess with numbers, It's going to bring up everything that has a number in it. Okay?
Find entries. The most common dictionary searches are listed. For instance, pressing 1 now would filter the dictionary to show capitalized entries. And to get back to an unfiltered display, I would press 1 again to view all entries. Naturally, when you ask to find entries, you still have access to all the features of the full find and replace dialog. And you can always get to this dialog directly. But the AutoMagic choices can make it easy to perform the most common dictionary searches. Other choices make it easy to add, delete, or modify entries. And it's also easy to mark parts of your dictionary. Once you've marked entries, AutoMagic makes it easy to remove them, or copy them to other dictionaries, or move them to other dictionaries, or perform other functions like printing lists of dictionary entries or compiling statistics. AutoMagic makes them easily accessible, both for those who are just learning to use Eclipse and for experienced users who want to work with the program more efficiently.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I don't know. I mean, the next time I mark something and remove it or add it to something else will be the first time I do it. You know, it's really not that big of a deal. You know, keeping your dictionary clean is important, you know, but you know, you don't really have to go through all of these steps. All you have to do is just go through there, find the stroke that you need, change it to whatever you need it to. Okay?
Let's see how to conduct dictionary searches. As in other parts of the program, speed key F5 or hyperkey F opens the Find dialog. It contains a Go To button that you can use if there's specific steno that you want to find in your dictionary, but you can get to this same function more quickly by using the same command you'd use to go to a specific page in a text document, namely Alt-G or hyperkey capital G.
Did y'all get that?
Let's see how to conduct.
Y'all get that? Excellent.
You're asking, I'm saying no, I rewind it.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to play it again, and I'm going to kind of stop it or whatever.
Dictionary searches. As in other parts of the program, speed key F5 or hyperkey F opens the Find dialog.
So all you have to do is that. Find. I want to find it. F. Okay? As long as you're in hyperkeys or F5. F5 is the same thing, remember? Push F5 right now. See how it opens that button? I mean, it opens a box of find, replace. You can do that in your dictionary. You have to be in your dictionary to find a dictionary entry. Does that make sense? So don't think that F5 opens up a find thing in your dictionary. It doesn't. You have to be in your dictionary to find it. Okay?
It's not working for me.
What's not?
Like I'm in the find thing and I was trying to like find prefixes and suffixes, but it just says there's no entries.
Well, because you're in the lesson.
No, but I'm in the dictionary lesson.
Huh?
I mean, I'm in the lesson dictionary.
Well, it may not have any entries for it in the lesson.
Sorry. It shows like the suffixes, right? So I'm trying and prefixes. You think it's just kind of this world?
try it in your regular. You know, guys, if we're talking about something here, and you're doing it in the tutorial, don't get frustrated. Try it in a job, or try it when you go to the main screen of the Eclipse, because the tutorial is totally different. So it's not going to let you maybe do some things or whatever, even though they're talking about it.
It contains a Go To button that you can use if there's specific steno that you want to find in your dictionary, but you can get to this same function more quickly by using the same command you'd use to go to a specific page in a text document, namely Alt-G or hyperkey capital G.
So are you in that? Are you in it right now? Are you in that dictionary?
I just got out of that.
Get back in it and do Alt-G.
Alt-G. Yeah, it pops out.
Okay. So it should bring this up right here. And then just try to go to like D.
It worked.
It worked? Okay. And what Josh was looking for was prefixes and suffixes or whatever. You know, but if you know a specific prefix or suffix, then this might be the way to do it. So if it didn't open it up, even in your main, and it's still not doing it, and you want to check a certain thing, and you know what, it's ing, then just push G. What's go-to page?
Is it Alt-G?
Alt-G is go-to page. So like if you're in a document and you're at page 99 and you want to go to page 5, you press
Alt-G.
Alt-G. But if you're in the dictionary and you want to go to a specific thing and find a specific entry, you can do the Alt-G also. It's going to open up this.
But once you're in the dictionary.
You have to be in the dictionary. It's not Alt-G. Oh, well, that didn't open my dictionary. And I know, as I'm standing here now, one of you guys are going to, well, I did Alt-G and it didn't open my dictionary. I don't know what happened. Then my computer's messed up. My software, really? If you don't do specific things, it's not going to do what you want it to do, okay? But if you're doing it right, then it'll do what you're asking it to do. Got it?
Yes.
The dictionary's Find dialog contains a large number of shortcuts to help you find entries that contain specific steno and/or text patterns. Many of these shortcuts are fairly self-explanatory, but you should explore them. Typing anywhere in the text field is basically equivalent to using the shortcut contains. As for starts with, ends with, and exact match, here's a quick comparison of searching for the same text, but using these 3 different tools. For exact match, the text is the same, but the steno is different in each entry.
You see what it's telling you there? So you can look for something that's spelled the same, like your honor, but you had it 64 different ways. Because by leaving one letter out, you still knew what you needed, because there's so many letters to do your honor. You left, I don't even, there's probably about 64, if not more than that, different ways that you could do your honor by leaving one letter out and still being able to read it, okay? But you need to find every time that you have your honor. And you know what? Well, it kind of coincides with the way that I do concerned, that one entry. So I want to take that entry out. I don't need that entry. Okay, whatever. But you can go in there and find every time that your honor was written by doing it that way. Do I get it? You want to see it again?
Again,
Yeah.
play it again.
Thank you, ma'am.
You search it by cancer.
The dictionary's Find dialog contains a large number of shortcuts to help you find entries that contain specific steno and/or text patterns. Many of these shortcuts are fairly self-explanatory, but you should explore them. Typing anywhere in the text field is basically equivalent to using the shortcut contains. As for starts with, ends with, and exact match, here's a quick comparison of searching for the same text, but using these three different tools.
See, so starts with, and it could be corrective, correctly, correcting, correctable. Ends with, that is correct. Is that correct? That's correct. Could it be correct? So it ends with, starts with, an exact match. So the exact match is going to be only the word. Okay? So not every time it's thank you, Your Honor. So that would be ends with, if you're trying to find Your Honor. Well, it ends with Your Honor, so I was trying to find that thing of thank you, Your Honor, or whatever. I don't know. Okay? So you can narrow it down by that. Got it? Starts with, ends with, exact match.
For exact match, the text is the same, but the steno is different in each entry.
Got it? Yes.
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 In the dictionary shortcuts, what's the difference between ends with keys and ends with strokes? If I search for the entries that end with the keys ER, the filtered display shows a lot of entries because each one only has to have ER as part of the final stroke. If I search for the entries that end with the stroke ER, far fewer entries show up because ER has to be the entire last stroke.
Got it?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're yelling.
You get mad if I don't say anything.
Here's how to select multiple dictionary entries. Holding down the Control key while you left-click selects individual entries, or unselects individual entries. But holding down the Shift key while you left-click selects an entire range of entries. And if you hold down the Shift key while you press Control page down, you select all of your entries. If your display has been filtered, you're not selecting all of the entries in your entire dictionary, but you are selecting all of the entries in your filtered display.
Got it?
Yes.
Let's see how to move dictionary entries. Suppose that my main dictionary contains old entries that are causing a problem with number conversion. I'd like to move the number entries from my main dictionary to another dictionary, where I could examine which ones I want to keep and which ones I want to throw away. I could open a new dictionary, call it Numbers, and with both it and my main dictionary on screen, use Cut and Paste to painstakingly move entries from my main dictionary to the Numbers dictionary. But that's a lot of trouble. It would be much easier to find all my digit entries and move them as a group. To do something with this block of entries, I could go to the Block menu, or just open a context menu. I want to transfer these entries. They're now being moved. They're no longer in my main dictionary. They've been transferred to the Numbers dictionary. After I've finished editing my Numbers dictionary, I'll open my main dictionary and merge the number entries that I've decided to keep back into my main dictionary. So I'm selecting the Numbers Dictionary's contents to be merged. That doesn't take very long at all.
Be careful with that.
I was gonna say, would you do that?
Yeah. I wouldn't, but if you want to do it, up yourself. I wouldn't do it, but if you think that's a better way of doing it, let me know how that works out when you're calling support and asking them to help you find all that stuff you just moved.
Let's see how to conduct more advanced dictionary searches. Find and replace is another powerful feature. Here I'm looking for some old number conversion commands in my dictionary and replacing them with entries that I think will be better. The dialog lets me preview each change that would be made. So I can say yes or no on an individual basis, let the system make all the replacements automatically, or cancel the find and replace process. But remember, if you've accidentally made some mistaken changes to dictionary entries and have not yet closed your dictionary, you can use the undo button. And there's also redo.
So if you want to change lines, you know, every time there's a, you know, they say, well, line 6, you know, whatever, and you want to change it from a number to an ordinal. That's what they're talking about there. Okay, I don't think it's something you really need. They're just showing you how to do it if you're interested in doing it. All right. Any questions about that? No? You know what? I think we're going to end right there. Bring your machines on Monday. Okay? We're going to do that block files thing. Okay? Do y'all have any questions about tonight? Pretty cool stuff, but, you know, pretty basic about dictionaries and stuff like that. Any questions? No? All right. We'll see you guys on Monday.